Hi guys, today's video is about showing you 5 point shoes tricks and hacks that some I've seen online and I genuinely wanted to try. I was really surprised, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a dead pair of point shoes and just see how it works and if it works. And some I wanted to share some of my own tricks that I've been using during my time wearing point shoes. So let's get to it. So, trick number 1. This, I discovered it on Instagram and you might have seen it already. I was really curious to try it to see how it would feel. So, as you can see, I took a dead pair of point shoes. So, no new point shoe was sacrificed to do this experiment. Now I'm going to put my toe pads and showing you how these weirdly sewn elastics feel in my ankle. So, as you can see, it looks like 2 handles. Then to put it on, you have to make a loop and insert your ankle inside the circle that you created. Of course, you can decide if to cross the inner elastic or if to cross the outer elastic. That's up to you depending on the pressure you want to feel. Okay, both point shoes are on. The elastic definitely feels very supportive in a more higher position than normally, because I guess this is where the cross happens because of the trick. I mean, it feels good. I have to admit that it feels more sustained than normal elastics. I wonder if having this cross right on top of the Achilles after many hours wearing point shoes would have an effect and would make the Achilles feel sore. So that has to be tested. But the feeling is nice. The reason why this technique was created is because it pulls the heel of the shoe way more, with a stronger pull, comparing to how I normally sew my elastics. But yeah, definitely, as you can see here, there is not the cross happening because I have the traditional way of sewing the elastic and it pulls less. So I guess this was why. Just be careful if you try this technique, make sure that your Achilles doesn't feel sore after a long day. Technique number 2, the stitched bump. So I've seen this from my ex-colleague from Stuttgart, Irene, and I guess she wanted to widen the bump. I guess she had problems either at a metatarsal level or with some corns, I'm not sure, but I really wanted to try because I saw that she did this and I don't have problems because the width of my bump is okay, but I'm just going to show you what I did. So I basically opened with a cutter the bump in 2 directions, so vertically and horizontally, and then I started sewing across so the structure would loosen up but still hold together. and I'm just going to wear them to see how they look. From far away, you probably cannot see this adjustment, so for a performance, I think it still would be okay. From close up, of course, they look like Frankenstein shoes. Okay, so when I go to demi-pointe, I definitely feel more space between my toes, which is actually nice. So if you're in a nutcracker season, or if you have many shows coming up and your toes are suffering, this could be a very nice trick that saves your dancing and the suffering from corns, which is a horrible thing that sometimes happens to dancers. And when corns come, well, they're a real pain. I'm not sure if you can see the stitches from far away. But yeah, especially in demi-pointe, I feel more space. So it's kind of nice. They feel like more like slippers. So thank you, Irene, for that. This was my first time trying this technique, so I'm sure it could be done better and with more grace. But I just wanted to show the rough idea, and then depending on your sewing skills and on your pointe shoes, you can, you know, do it your own way. Trick number 3. This I call the crisscross, and I used to do it with some of my frayed pointe shoes because I had a model that used to come with a shorter bump. And you definitely need to do this or something like this, either doing this or placing an elastic right here if your knuckles of your toes, well, how am I going to show you this? If the knuckles, I'm not even sure if you call them knuckles in English, of your toes go over the vamp. Let's say those are the toes. So if this happens, definitely add some support because it can be very painful if those go out of the vamp. And as you can see, I took a thick thread, but you can also do it with a thinner thread or a pink thread if you prefer aesthetically. So how do you do it? Basically, I think I started from the bottom. And so you place the thread, then you pull it and attach it on the top part of the opposite side. Then you go back on top of the first stitch you did, and then you go back under the second stitch you did. Then you go back on top of the third stitch you did. I hope this makes sense. And you go crisscrossing. I think the video will be more clear. And I'm just going to show you the pointe shoes on. These pointe shoes at the moment didn't create the problem, it's just I wanted to show you the technique. As you can see, it lifts the vamp of 1 centimeter. Of course, it depends how high you do it. You can do it bigger, you can do it smaller, depending on your needs. It basically closes the vamp and gives more support. So if you have a low vamp problem, I definitely recommend it. It can also save pointe shoes from breaking too fast. Trick number 4. So this is a real fun one, and it was my first time trying it. I have seen it in the past on Instagram and I really wanted to try it, and then making this video gave me the chance to try it. I like to call it the seamless Frankenstein, and it's basically to lower the satin in the inner part of the pointe shoe. So if you have a very baggy heel, a lot of material in the back of your shoe, well, you can try this technique. It is real fun. It was my first time trying this technique, so I wasn't so precise in the video, but I'm sure I can get better at it, and I'm sure you can also do it better than me. The important thing is that during this procedure, you just take the satin, you don't stitch, you don't sew the inner material inside the shoe. So when you put your stitches, just take this first layer of the pointe shoe. Hopefully the video will make you understand the technique. It's quite easy once you understand it, and it's real fun to see the thread being pulled and the magic happen afterwards. Again, I used a very dead, unusable pair of pointe shoes, so to try the experiment, let's see. So, well, it definitely pulled the satin, the material lower. Maybe I'll try on a new pair of pointe shoes and see how it looks. And I think it would be fun to see one pair with and one pair without. The only thing I'm concerned about is the wrinkles, and I'm not sure the reason why the wrinkles come out is because I didn't do it very precisely or because it does this anyway. So that's something to be considered. I don't like the wrinkles. Trick number 5, the last one, and this is a real fun one, but I never tried it before. And a colleague of mine explained it to me the other day, and it's real fun, and I might be using this from now on. I have to try it in class and in rehearsal and how it feels, but it's very convenient. You basically don't sew 2 ribbons. This is an elastic ribbon, of course. You sew just one, and then you wrap it in a way that with just one move, the pointe shoe is on with a nice crisscross. So let's see. You put your pointe shoes on, then you cross downwards the inner part of the ribbon. You let the point go through in the loop, and then the outer part of the ribbon, you cross it on top. Let's see if it worked, if I did it correctly. Yes, I did it. Yay! And ta-da! That's it. And you don't risk any knot from coming out during the performance or during the class, and you just have one smooth ribbon around your ankle. Yeah, these are very new shoes, but yeah. What's really cool is that the knot doesn't risk to go out, so you don't have to stress about that during performance. Usually I either sew the knot of the ribbons or I put a tape, but then the tape sometimes, stains my tights, and then I have a lot of glue on my tights because it releases the glue on the tights. So guys, if you actually get to try some of the tricks, let me know. I would be really curious which ones helped you and which ones actually didn't solve a problem. So just let me know. I would be really curious to see if you get to experiment some of those. Of course, thank you for watching and following along, and see you next time.